In this video, we're going to be going over how to structure the pricing of your offer in a way which is going to maximize both your profit and your conversions. So how much you're going to be charging for your services will have a big impact on the number of conversions that you're going to make. You know, your price is going to dictate essentially your perceived value, because you know what it's like. People associate price with quality, and they have done since the dawn of time, and how you're pricing your agency services are not going to be an exception to this rule. And in the same way, you can lose deals for, being too expensive. More often than not, especially when it comes to people deciding to work with an agency, I think you would lose more deals for being priced too cheap. When I was first starting out with my agency, because I never sold anything, as expensive as £2,000, £3,000 before, I was under the impression that, okay, if everyone else is charging these crazy numbers, I'll just crazily undercut everyone. I'll charge, £300 for my clients, and then I'm going to win everyone because I'm so much cheaper than everyone else. And what I didn't realize is that pricing your offer too low actually makes prospects more skeptical about your ability to deliver. So if you think about it, if you're doing big claims, you're saying, right, I can help you, grow your business. We can get you, 2, 3, 4 times the amount of inquiries that you're getting each month. You're going to make a load more money, and it's going to cost you just £300 a month. It sounds too good to be true. And if it sounds too good to be true, more often than not, people will think it is too good to be true, and it will put them off working with you. Your clients aren't going to want the cheapest option, because when it comes to important things like who's going to be responsible for bringing all of the inquiries in for my business and take control of my business, my baby's marketing, that's something which is important. And for important things, people aren't looking for the cheapest guy to do it. They want, the most competent person. And like we just said a minute ago, your price point is going to have a direct correlation to how good they think you are. So even if you were to position yourself as the lowest cost choice, you're going to be perceived often as the weaker option, regardless of actually the quality of service that you deliver and how good you are. Because most prospects understand that the best people that provide the best service, they're going to charge more. So being too cheap, more often than not, will work against you. You are, of course, going to encounter some leads that do really care about the price, and you're going to feel like, if I don't have it really low, I can never work with that guy. But, these are the clients that you want to kind of put off working with you anyway, because you should never be competing on price with stuff in marketing. You always want to make it about the quality of service that you deliver and your brand, because that's how you can command, more money doing exactly the same job. Especially with marketing, someone is always willing to undercut you. All you need to do this stuff is a laptop. So you're going to be competing against people that are in the Philippines, in these countries where they're prepared to do this for like a tenner. There's always someone that's going to be prepared to do it cheaper than you, and it will be a complete race to the bottom. If you are charging low ticket, you're going to be charging really low quality clients, because like I said, the good clients, they won't want to pay, someone super cheap to do this because they know it's important. And what's interesting, if you are pricing and your service is low, you want to attract, the worst clients, and they are an absolute headache. I don't know what it is, and people always used to say this to me when I first started. I didn't really listen. If you're charging someone a lot for the service, they understand that they're going to need to invest, and they've got the money to obviously do it. And people that have got the money understand that things are a process and take time. If you're charging someone, a couple of £100 to do this, I'm telling you now, his expectations are going to be crazy. Because the reason he can't afford to pay for the more expensive stuff is because he hasn't understood that he probably needs to invest a lot in his business for it to grow. So that guy is paying you £200 a month. If you're not literally making him a multi-millionaire, he will be on you, I guarantee it. The way we want to be framing our price point is we want to use it to be a filter for us to get the quality clients. Because if a client is going to be haggling you on the price point or making decisions purely based on how much it costs, what's the best deal I can get, that's what's going to be holding them back in their business. And that ultimately is going to be why marketing won't work for them as well, because they take that same energy into everything else that they're doing. They'll always be looking for that shortcut. These clients that are price sensitive, they often expect instant results, and if you're not bringing them instant results, they're going to churn very, very, very quickly. Okay, so you need to position yourself as the premium option, and if you are able to do that and price yourself probably more towards the premium side, definitely, than the cheap side, you're going to be able to filter out these low quality crap clients that would have churned anyway, because they literally won't be able to afford to work with you. And what's interesting, if you price yourself more towards the premium side, by default, you're only going to be able to work with the good businesses, because the good businesses, the ones that have got this type of marketing budget, they're going to be the only ones that can afford to work with you. And because they got a good business anyway, you're going to be more successful with your marketing. These are, people that figure problems out. These are going to be people that make stuff work. And ultimately, you're going to be able to retain the client for longer term and increase your profits. As you can imagine, you need to take what I'm saying with a bit of a pinch of salt. We had to pick between pricing ourselves too high or too low. We would definitely want to be edging towards too high, but don't make it, unreasonably high where it becomes, silly. You're charging a 10x industry average, because one problem you will want to run into is that the more you charge for a service, the more the client's expectations go up. And, if their expectations are sky high, sometimes regardless if you're one of the best marketers, paid media advertisers out there, it can take a minute then to get the results. So if you're charging a premium, their expectations are going to be at premium. If you don't hit those from the get-go, you're going to get cut. And, it's not difficult to charge someone for a one-off fee. You need to retain people for like a year or two. That's how you're going to build the profit here, as we're going to come on to. And also, just an obvious one, if you price it so high, you're obviously going to exclude a load of people that just simply can't afford it, which is going to shrink your potential client base. So always bear that in mind too. So in my opinion, the marketing agency business model is probably the easiest business model to win at, okay? Because of how cash flow rich it is. So when you get paid for doing someone's marketing, the majority of the cash that you're going to ever take from that client comes up front before you even start working. And that's because people understand that there is going to be a setup fee associated to what you're doing, because the work is front loaded. The work is not equal, okay? It's the strategies that it's that expert intel of how to create the ads that that industry knowledge, all of the systems, setting up the AI, helping them do their content, building out their ad structure. You've got to give that to someone all at the very beginning. So it's obvious that if that's where the majority of the work's happening and you're giving the majority of the value, of course they need to pay for that. So you should be charging a setup fee to implement all of this stuff. And the majority of the time, people do understand that. It's not like something, I don't know, like a builder, where if you would agree to do an extension for someone, maybe they put down a mini deposit, you do the majority of the work, and then in 60 days' time, then they pay you, or they pay you in installments. No, you get the main chunk of the cash before you even do anything. There's so many benefits that come with charging a high setup fee in order to initiate your services, but there's really two main ones which make it so straightforward for us to grow our agency pretty quickly, okay? The first one is that it gives you really good margins, which will allow you to grow your business and scale whilst using paid ads. We're going to do more on this later on. And the second one is going to let you charge every client for that setup fee, but then also in 30 days' time, you're going to be getting another payment from them, because in a way, that's their first proper payment for you in terms of like your retainer, and that has got to add a significant boost to your revenue. You're almost taking 2 payments off client the very first time you work with them. So now that we understand why we need to have this big setup fee, because remember, it's to get paid in line with the value that you're bringing to people. The majority of the work that we do is front loaded, so the majority of the money we take from the client is to be front loaded as well. Once we've got that out of the way, we're going to be going into a monthly recurring revenue model. Okay, so we're going to be charging a client a set fee every 30 days. The reason you do 30 days instead of, every month, because some months are 31 days, overall, it just means you get a little bit of extra cash at the end of the year. But that monthly recurring payment is actually going to be a lot lower than our setup fee. And the reason for that is because once you've kind of set this client up and you're following the best practices that I'm teaching in this training, there's not actually loads for you to do. It is actually pretty straightforward to maintain someone's account and get them really good results with just small optimizations. So if the amount of workload we're doing less in the same way that we're charging them more at the start because we had to do more work, it's fair to charge your clients a bit less, because you're going to have to do less stuff. Another big reason why we charge a lower monthly fee is because price is linked to someone's expectations. If you're charging like a medium price monthly fee, it's going to just set a reasonable expectation for your clients. They're not going to be expecting anything crazy. And because of this, it's going to allow you to stay in the game for longer, because what you don't want to be doing is being charged so high set fee and then a really high monthly fee. The client hasn't got results in a month or 2 months. They go, I can't afford it, and they leave, because that's going to become a major financial burden for them, as you can imagine. And it will suck for you, because, okay, you may have took a bit of extra cash off them in month 1, but they've left you. You would make more money if you charge people, slightly lower fee, but you keep them. You keep them, and because you're keeping them and they're happy to pay it because it's not crazy expensive. Obviously, they've invested in the setup fee, so they want to stay with you to get the most out of their money and want to give it time to work. You will actually take more money from them because they're going to stay for longer. And when they stay for longer, ads need quite a long time to get working. So then, they get realistically good results as well. So everyone benefits from it. So these are my pricing suggestions for you in terms of your setup fee, okay? So as we went over in the sales trend, you always are going to have two offers. You always have a premium option because some people just buy the premium option. But also in this example, there is a lot of value that are being added in the premium option, okay? Offer number one is the standard setup fee. You should be pricing this no cheaper than 1,500 to $2,000, in my opinion. This is going to include, obviously, you creating them the ad, the paid media management that's running the ads on Facebook and Instagram, building them a CRM system and optimizing it based, around their niche, giving them an AI agent to help them do their appointment setting. And in this one, you're going to be writing their short form content scripts with the AI prompts that I've given you. And then you're going to be sending it to client. They need to film it and shoot it and do all the hard stuff. And maybe they can return it back to you and you can just chop it up. And I wouldn't even post it for them, actually. Get them to post it, okay? The premium option, however, is when you can give more value and you can charge them a bit more because obviously you give them more, okay? So I would recommend you charge these guys, £2,250, maybe up to close to that $3,000 mark, just short of that, so 2.7K. This is going to include everything in price option one in that initial setup fee. However, you're going to be giving them a full content day. Go and meet your clients. Go and shoot that content for them. So many people will not even do shooting the content, even if you've literally baby fed them on the scripts because they're time poor. Everybody would rather just, come and meet me for 4 hours and just bang it out. So go and do a 4-hour shoot with them. Give them as much value as you can. Shoot as many videos. Give them at least 15 videos probably. And then, you want to script it all, do all the ideas, you want to edit it up for them, and then you're actually going to post it across all of their social media channels. Explain to them how if you post it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, you're going to compound the amount of views, which can lead to them and getting organic leads straight away. Just going to do everything for them as well, and obviously because you're doing more, you should be get paid in line. So definitely try and always upsell that premium option. But these are the two setup fees that I would recommend. So once you've got the setup fee out of the way, 30 days from their campaign when they're carrying on, I think your monthly recurring charge should be between 500 and 750 a month. To me, this is medium nowadays. It's an amount which, these good businesses, they're not going to buy an eye from it, not going to miss it. But then equally, it's an amount where, you're taking a decent chunk from them because it is valuable, the stuff that you're doing. So what's the real purpose of this setup fee then? Obviously, it's not actually to do with the cost of setting up our services because as you all know by now, it's not actually that expensive to run this. I mean, even if you're doing a content day for someone, the main cost is your time actually building it, which is a legitimate expense, but there isn't necessarily a setup fee attached to it. They're paying for your knowledge, okay? But the reason we want to have a high setup fee is because we want to remove the financial pressure off you if you want to scale this using paid ads, which in my opinion is 100% the best way. And this is how I grew my agency really fast, all right? And this is how it kind of gets broken down. So if you're charging, let's say, £2,000 as a setup fee, and you're running ads and you're getting leads to your agency for around £30, which you do not need to be a marketing wizard to do, okay? That's pretty easy. So you're only going to need to convert 1 in 67 people to be breaking even on your setup fee. You need to sell to 1 in 67 people. You don't need to be fantastic at sales to do that. You should be doing that. And then as long as you're doing that, you're breaking even, but you're actually growing the number of clients that your agency has. And then later, as I'm about to show you, you can use that recurring revenue to profit from. Growth is all about, getting more clients. But this isn't necessarily where you want to be cashing in and making money. If you want to be scaling your agency really fast like I did, you're going to need to be okay with not making much money on this setup fee. You're going to need to be okay with taking your profit a little bit further down the line when you're retaining these clients and all of the money is coming from the recurring revenue. That's really where the cash is made with the agency model. It looks cool taking, $2-3 off people, but in reality, it costs a lot to run ads and sign these clients. Having said that, this model with the high setup fee is going to reward you if you're good at sales. If you're putting in the work and you're practicing, this is an example of what some of your numbers could look like. Let's pretend you spend just £1,000 on ads and you're still getting leads for 30 quid. You still need to only convert 1 in 34 people to actually double your money. That would mean you're signing a client when you spend £1,000, but you charge them £2,000. That's amazing. If they're in a slot machine that says you put £1 in and you get £2 back, you would definitely be doing it. Do you need to be that good at sales to convert 1 in 34 people? Not really. However, You should be treating this as bonus profit, because remember, the primary reason for bringing in new clients is to actually grow the agency, not for that immediate profit. So let's talk about where that profit comes from. It's all coming from retaining your clients. And if you want to know the secret to scaling into that 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, it's all going to be about retaining your clients. Taking like these big checks off people in the setup fee, it looks cool. It's going to be nice seeing that money in your bank account. But obviously, we're not getting to keep a lot of this. All of the money that's for you, that is your profit, not your revenue, is coming from retaining clients. So remember, once we took that big setup fee off the client and we signed them in, our actual first payment in terms of their retainer payment, that monthly recurring one, is going to be coming in 30 days. So even if that client decides to leave, like I said, you're essentially charging that client twice for working for you, which is great in terms of bringing us to profit, because all of the, that first recurring revenue payment should be all profit for you. So you're always going to be in profit every time you sign in a client, provided you can sell to like 1 in 70 people, which is likely. So every single month at clients' days after you've got that setup fee, right, or even after that first month, it's essentially pure profit, isn't it? Because there's no cost per acquisition. You haven't needed to spend any money on ads to win their business when they've stayed for the 3rd month, for the 4th month, for the 5th month. And that is where all of the money is made. The ongoing work that you're going to actually do to have to maintain that client, as long as you follow the best practices here, it's mostly just, minor tweaks. Maintenance is, it's hardly going to take you any time at all. So as long as you can set this up good at the get-go, which is why I charge them this big setup fee, remember, because your expertise, this is very passive income, you just retaining these clients. So I've tried to give you a visualization of what this will look like. This model that I'm showing you here is exactly how I grew my agency and how I'm doing consistent 30K a month at the moment, all right? So you can see, we're chucking in, let's call it £2,000 in meta ads in ad spend for the month. We're getting leads for around 30 quid. So that means we've got 67 leads for this entire month. Now let's pretend we only make 2 sales. It's not great, but because our setup fee is so high, each client we took was £2,000. So from this £2,000 I've invested, because I've signed 2 clients, boom, I've got 4K immediately. I'm in 2K profit that whole month, which is great. That's more than most people. A lot of people will be happy with that. But what happens if I just wait 30 days? That 2K profit that I've got is now actually turning into 3.2, because I'm hitting them with that first recurring payment in their contract. Their actual first payment to us, because obviously we don't count the setup fee, is £600 in 30 days time. So boom, I just got 2 of those now as well. But what's also happened is that in the background, I've got 6 other clients are all giving me £600 as well. And I haven't really had to do anything for those clients because I've set it up so well from the get-go. And this is exactly how you're going to be scaling your agency. And you can, as you can imagine, hopefully this makes you excited, because this is the easiest business model in the world. If you follow this, it's not going to take you very long to scale your agency, as long as you're signing good clients. But yeah, the money you can make here is crazy. So really good video here. Definitely go back over this. It's quite hard to explain this one, but if you follow that model, the world is yours. You're going to be able to scale your agency super fast. Okay, till next time. Big thanks to you guys.